nearly every stage of my life, from junior high school to middle school to college to my first job or two, I thought I could protect myself from actually being bullied and being picked on. And I realized that this was not something I had so much control over because it was my mindset that was getting in the way. I realized as a young person, every place and every time I went somewhere new, I was somewhat the punching bag. I was the person who was going to get made fun of, the person who was going to get bullied, and the person who was going to get poked at. I always felt like maybe this time around it wasn't going to be the same. I thought maybe this time around people were not going to talk to me that way or always tease me. And I realized it was the way I was thinking about things and the way I was projecting myself. Because I always wanted to be socially accepted, I would put myself in situations that let disrespect occur and the bullying and the picking happen. And this was something that I have to accept as my own fault at the time, although I didn't know any better. I realized the people I was surrounded by were not the people I wanted to be with. These people were always looking at some of the things that I had, and they didn't see the value of who I was because we had just different values. And whether we had the same values or not, people always looked at me as a person that was not somewhat their equivalent in terms of some of the traits that they acquired or some of the materialistic things that they were able to get. So people always looked at me as this punching bag, this person that they could poke at. And I was more than willingly to be that at many times in my life because I wanted to just be liked and accepted. I thought maybe this is something I could provide and in return I could get love. I realized over the course of my life that this was something that I needed to stop. I need to realize that my value in society was a lot more higher than just being a person who could get teased and made fun of. A lot of the times when I hang out with my friends and people that are in my community, they always say that you're able to kind of get people laughing and getting people together and attracting people. And I look at it sometimes and I wonder why. And I think the reason it is because over the course of the years, I had to become this person that brought people closer to me. And it was maybe not the right way to do it, but it was a way for me to protect myself. It was a way for me to kind of have a certain edge over people because I didn't feel like I had any edge over anyone else. And I realized that people like to poke fun at me, and at times I like to play along with it because it made me feel special. And at times it made me feel like maybe there's something unique about how I am. And I realized over the course of my life that these were just ways that I had to conduct myself to protect myself. And over the course of my life, I realized many things. I realized that it wasn't just about me fitting in, but it was about me bringing some sort of grace and love to those around me. Maybe I seen myself as a person who could make people laugh and bring some humor because within me there was not so much humor, there was so much darkness and misery. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like I was always living like that, but there was something sad and deeply tiring that I had to always withhold and withstand and fight back and resist. And over the course of my life, I realized these were the things that shaped me and molded me. This resistance, this ability to keep going forward, this grit that I had, this ability to kind of just keep going at something and not give up. And I make this video as a confession or maybe a story of how I had become the person I have. And whether it was me being the person that people teased and made fun of, I realized that this was the persona that I had cherished and picked on. And I realized there was a course of many times in my life, whether it was in college or in my first or second job out of college, I realized that maybe I should stop putting out this goofy side of myself. I thought to myself, why should I put this goofy side out if people are always just picking on me and making fun of me? And meanwhile, I'm just trying to come off a good spirit and good humor, but people took advantage of that. People seen it as an opportunity to maybe deflect their insecurities or maybe let out certain things about themselves that they didn't like. Or maybe they just had some sort of jealousy that maybe they couldn't acquire certain traits that I had. Whatever the case might have been, what I do know is that there was something behind this all. There was something magnetic about something that I had carried, or something within me that I had not had cherished enough and seen as an insecurity or a weakness. And as I look back in my life, I start to realize that all these things were just chapters that were just helping me mold myself to create this charismatic persona that I wanted to pick on. And there's something beautiful about this all, that I'd never lost trust in who I was. Although at times I hated myself and I couldn't stand what I was going through, I realized that one day it would all be over. And it took many, many years, over a decade and a half probably. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. And I hope you find courage, resilience, and strength to move forward. Because one day those things that you call weaknesses will come to withfold or unfold themselves to become gifts. Take care.